I'm Berente, and I'm a university student as well as a full-stack software engineer. I came from Hungary, and today we will unveil the secrets of logging and the potential of logging, as well as your applications through this process. So let's get right into it. First, let me introduce myself. As I said, I'm a software engineer, and I joined META-INF to develop Forge applications as part of the FTT team, which stands for Forge Technology Team. And we are trying to create the best and the newest Forge applications for every platform. We are experimenting a lot and bringing everything to life that we dream of. So let me guide you through our agenda today. First, we will have a general overlook of the logging topic, which can be the engine of innovation. Then we will craft a technological background. This will be a more techy side of things. We will then collect some data and anonymous data, and we will master the art of this data, and we will create eventually enhancements for our application based on that, and we will resolve some issues proactively. So let's first talk about logging in general. What does it stand for, what can be used, and what we used that before. So of course, by talking about logging, we often think about it as a debugging tool in product development and software development, things that developers use a lot, for example, console log or something, but there's a lot more to it. So first, we can also always use it as a comprehensive debugging tool for identifying issues. We can identify the origins of the issues, and therefore we can just see what's wrong in our application, etc. We can monitor performance by using logging. Of course, we will have an example for that, and we can proactively resolve issues that our users might encounter. So, but there's a lot more to it. So we can think logging as a tracking tool for our users, and we can personalize user experience based on the data we collect. So that's one point beyond the only debugging, and we can always calculate the adoption of our features, as well as continuously improving our application based on that data. We can get user-centric insights to match the application to our users' needs. So the main goal here is to understand what the user is doing, understand their behaviors, and understand where they encounter difficulties during usage of our applications. There's a lot more to be excited about. The legal stuff, it's a bit boring topic when it comes. We have an ever-changing dynamic legal landscape that we need to comply to. We have compliance challenge, and we need to take robust security measures to enhance the security of the data we collect. And third-party solutions often has some solution, but it's not that transparent to us what they collect, where they store that, and we can take everything in our hands and do this ourselves. Therefore, give users more control and more transparency over the data we collect, we store, where we store that, and etc. Whether they want to delete that data and things like that. So that's also a positive side, also a more challenging side for first-party logging mechanisms. So how do we craft the technological symphony for that? By technological symphony, I mean the set of libraries, set of architectural elements, and other tools. So let me guide you through our roadmap today. We want to have a user event that's eventually a click or a movement in our application, and we will have a analysis at the end. But there's a huge roadmap, a 5-step roadmap that we need to go through, so we will go through that today. And firstly, we want to have something that captures our actions or the user's actions. We defined it as a React logger. A React logger mechanism takes or brings key locations to our application. By a location, I mean, for example, a button or a page or something like that the user can interact with. And in a location, there are actions or errors. I think errors as actions here that failed, for example. So in the left example, we have, for example, a form submission that we need to log not with data, only the fact that the form was submitted. And on the right-hand side, we have some basic error examples. And I want you to take a note on the test failed successfully message, which happens all the time. Something changes in our React application, and we will get back to that later. We need to do these log invocations precisely in every step the user can make, because in the end, we need to have a big set of data to analyze. Next, we want to store these items. So when an action happens, actually, we want to eventually store that somewhere, and that somewhere is the Forge platform, of course. We will have just an invocation and a resolver pair that easily integrates to the platform, and it eventually just console logs the items. We will get back to the Forge side later. The worst part is the overhead for developers to integrate these loggers. So it would be hard to do so, and the extra effort to do, and it will always get forgotten. But we implemented a easy to use solution for our team to use, which integrates with React a lot better than other tools like that, and integrates with Forge also. So for example, here in this example, we have a log location here. For example, the branch selector. The previous error happened in the branch selector. And when the branch selector encounters an error or a user does something, for example, choosing something, we will eventually log that by timestamp and by location and by the action the user made. We will get back to how you can structure these log lines efficiently. So you have a bunch of log locations you could define. You can also define log locations in other parts of your application. For example, functions that are not React components, etc. It's up to you where you want to integrate that. And you can just consume the location and just use whichever type you would like. We often use log info and log error, of course, but you can use it for debugging purposes and for development also. And it's just easy as that. So when we bring our log items to the backend side, we will eventually have a type field that will represent the type of log we just got, and we will want to demultiplex this. This sounds like a hard word, but it's not that difficult. It's eventually a switch case. So we want to convert these logs to the corresponding level for the Forge platform to best utilize that. So if you're familiar with the log mechanism of the Forge, you can just use console.log, for example, and it will take care of the rest by storing and by differentiating between the log types. So, and you won't have to use any third-party storing mechanism to store these logs. Therefore, the data redundancy stays within the Atlassian platforms. So that's it with multiplexing, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with the developer console. It's kind of has a log inspection purpose. It gives us filter options based on the period, the install site, or the environment. It's good for basic purposes and good for example, checking metrics of invocations. But there's a lot more to be done here, and unfortunately, this console cannot do that. So what we can do about that? we can somehow extract these log lines into other third-party applications you maybe have self-hosted or you use. And there's a for CLI, of course, which you can use for that, and you can access every log item by that, but it has some limitations. You can always filter by environment, period, and other parameters with the for CLI, but it's not that robust and not that professional. We can use GraphQL, however. We tried GraphQL to extract this data more robustly and more easily from the Forge platform. And there's a special GraphQL endpoint for that, which we used. So what is the full process of this extraction? So of course we use the app-logs query. You can just check it out on the developer documentation side, and everyone we have a target environment to load into. In this example, we use Datadog, our Datadog instance, to load the logs into. Datadog has a special format, unfortunately. Therefore, you want to parse and transform this log data that you just collected, and somehow you want to upload that. There's an API for that, so that's great. The whole process takes shape here, but it seems like a manual process to do, and it won't be as accurate as you want to if you do this manually. So what can we do about that? Of course, we can just use some automations. We have our full tool that extracts, loads, and extracts, transforms, and loads our data to whichever platform you like. And we want to wrap it in automations. We just use the Bitbucket pipelines to do that. This is because of cost management purposes, and it was just integrated better with our solution. It's also really effective and really transparent to us whether the process is successful or something like that. So eventually we will have a really efficient and really reliable process of extracting these items and uploading to other platforms. So the result was really satisfying. Here's the result of our run schedule. It's run a dozen of times every hour. We found that logging hourly is a great, is suitable for our use cases. So it's fine so far. So far so good. Yeah. So what can we do with the data we just collected? So there's a lot to talk about here because there are real use cases we want to share, and there are best practices and even some cautions that we want to give to you. So first, we memorize the test failed successfully message here. Here is it in Datadog. As we can see, we just use that for debugging purposes. We can see the location here, for example, the environment, even the install context, which I asked about. Some Atlassian developers, whether it is correct to log, and it is. Also, we can see the timestamp and our custom session ID. Take a look at here because we will talk about this later. This custom session ID is absolutely anonymous, so it's not connected to user. Yeah, it's great for debugging purposes. You will have a bunch of error log lines, and you can just proactively resolve every issue with that. And even you can search up the location. So what can we do with that more? We can track the users by grouping every log item by the session ID. This custom session ID we just can generate it on every app launch. And its only purpose is to group items together in historical order to represent the steps the user went through. Maybe therefore you can analyze issues, analyze difficulties, where for example the user got stuck or something like that. Here we can have a quick example of the load time. We just went through and pushed it in the message field, and we have a load time item here. We can on the upper side we have some actions that the user actually did, and other I think metadata or something. So what can we do more with our log items? We can have iterations of improvements, new ideas. For example, we can always optimize our menu items order and stuff like that based on the usage and behavior analysis. For example, we always count the popularity of our components and features. Of course, there are some noises, so it's not perfect. But for example, we see that the save menu and the tree header component of our application is somewhat popular, and we will maybe concentrate on that a bit more. So yeah, and there are the best practices I want to talk about here, because we are working with tracking data and somewhat user data. But yeah, so first of all, the general idea behind what not to log is anything that is connected to the user, so or the user can identify by. So for example, the name and the email address, of course, is connected. User shouldn't log that. Even the content, you should not log. And there are a big granularity and a big list of what not to log and what not to store. There's a list available on one of the Atlassian side, and yeah, that gives us a general list on what not to do. What we should do is, for example, design special areas, user interface areas, and predefined actions for us to log. I showed you some example. We created a custom session ID, as I said before, and it's also great because it cannot be identified as a user. And we should log errors, of course. The issue detection is a really crucial step here, but be careful when you log errors, because it might contain some user data and you should take extra care about that. You can, of course, log and analyze performance metrics. So by, for example, taking the time difference between two log points and stuff like that. How you can create a structure that will represent this information. We have here this really simple four-line interface in TypeScript, which represents our whole logging mechanism. There's not a black magic behind this. We only have a general purpose message field and a location field, which will depend on the most. We will have the custom session ID field, which will generate a session class or something, which will be unique in every launch. We use the UUID, which is the universal unique identifier, and its probability of repeating is really low, nearly zero. We have also an install context here. I asked some guy about that, and he said that it's maybe not that problematic to log, but if you are not 100% sure, you should avoid that. How can we manage the data we collected? For example, on Datadog. Here's a quick example slide on what you can do with these log items. It's just an inspiration for you to take home. For example, count the issues of previous months to monitor and to have a graph on the performance enhancements of our application and the stability of our application. Of course, you can just go ahead and count the usage and see how many people use your application. And of course, you can create a top list of best features in your application, as well as log sessions and the engagement with your application. When it comes to privacy and data residency, there's a responsibility you will take when you extract these log items from the Forge platform. So until you use the Forge platform and the developer console, you will the data residency and the responsibility will be on Atlassian side. Once you want to extract the data from that, you will gain responsibility, and you should take extra care about that. It will eventually become a shared responsibility after extraction. And yeah, you should be extra transparent with your users on what you log, what you use that log information for, and where will they profit from. I think, in my opinion, sharing that you will use this log only for improvements and proactive issue tracking is a good practice. And you should also consider taking on these best practices I just presented you before. So yeah, we came to our conclusion side. So what we talked about today is the logging topic of it in general, how you can try your innovation and product development with logging, what's the purpose of logging in these days, and how you can take the most out of it. We crafted the technological symphony and the technological background for our logging mechanism, and we utilized the React logger and the Forge resolver for taking care of our log items and user events. And then we talked a lot about best practices and security things when it comes to logging, somehow to master the art of this topic. And therefore we will have a full-scale issue resolution and usage tracking platform. And you can just eventually create your own library and ask me questions about that. I'm really open to that. We are committed to this community, and I pursue you to dive deeper with us in this topic and to grow collectively. And also with the table of contents. Yeah. And thanks for watching. It was great to meet you.